Welcome, everyone. This is AB 106. Where's the money? Budget Bill Part 5. So we will continue where we left off last time. So let's go. All right, so as we're going to go through these sections, I'm going to try to go through these a little bit quicker just because there's a lot to get to, and my schedule's been kind of hectic lately. So might be skipping over some stuff, but if you do have a chance, you can actually go back to read the bill yourself as well. So let's start. Section 6, you can see here. 2.0 of the Budget Act of 2023 is amended to read, for support of Office of Planning and Research, 154,722,000. Looks like some of the money is scheduled for a couple of these agencies, so let's go read them. State Planning and Policy Development, 35,871,000. California Volunteers, 35,871,000. 170,035,000. Strategic Growth Council, 1,392,000. Office of Community Partners and Strategic Communications, 15,212,000. All right. Looks like reimbursements, state and policy planning development, is a negative 1,560,000, and reimbursements to California Volunteers, negative 3,228,000. All right. So here's a couple of provisions. Let's see here. They speak about the California Volunteers. The amount in Schedule 2, 4,683,000 shall be made available for support or local assistance and shall be used for the purpose of implementing the California Climate Action Service Corps program to create service opportunities to take on climate action, such as urban greening, food waste recovery, and wildfire prevention. Funds appropriated pursuant to Provision 8, item ending in -001, Budget Act of 2021. Looks like chapters 21 and 240. For the Integrated Climate Adaptation Planning Grants, program may be expended for the following groups: California Native American tribes and disadvantaged communities identified to pursuant Section 39711 of the Health and Safety Code. Quick interjection. I think if the California Native American tribes are getting, some of these funds appropriated to them, I think definitely in the future, the Freedmen Affairs should as well. All right. Let's continue. Of the funds appropriated in Schedule 1, $2 million is available for forestry sector market development. Of the funds appropriated for Transformative Climate Communities Program, in Provision 7, not more than 10% may be used for administrative costs to support the program. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 1, $2,300,000 shall be available for the Office of Planning and Research, in consultation with the Labor Workforce Development Agency. All right. All right, so there's, let's go here. California, okay, so there looks like there's some goals for emissions. California's zero emission goals is an estimation of the number of public operations maintenance jobs provided by existing buses, rolling stock vehicles, or related equipment that would require significant upskilling to adapt to the transition to zero emission. Okay, looks like they're looking for some development skills required to keep updated or the updates to some of this future equipment here. And development of model solicitation and contract language. Okay, development of comprehensive plan to transition, train, or retrain public transportation system employees. All right. The amount appropriated in Provision 12 shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure through June 30th, 2026. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 2, $78,100,000 shall be available for the California Volunteer Youth Corps. All right. The amount allocated in this provision, $2 million, shall be available for California tribal communities, applied through a competitive process. All right, so it looks like they're allocating $2 million for this particular California Youth Corps to the California tribal communities. All right. Just taking some notes of that. Of the amount remaining after the allocation described in sub-provision B, a share proportional to funding provided in Provision 1 of the item ending in 8506, Budget Act of 2021, to the 13 largest cities in California. Funding shall be proportional to each city's population as a percent of the total population of the 13 largest cities as estimated by the Department of Finance. All right, go ahead. Keep going here. Budget Act, Section 7, Budget Act of 2023 is amended to read, for local assistance, Office of Planning and Research, $194,085,000. State Planning and Policy Development, $135 million. Excuse me. Office of Community Partnerships and Strategic Communication, $59 million. All right. Okay, provisions of the amount appropriated in Schedule 1, $110,085,000 shall be available for state operations or local assistance for the ICARP Extreme Heat and Community Resilience Grant Program. All right, so let's look up ICARP. All right, so let's see what ICARP stands for. Okay. Interesting. See if this goes. Okay, here we go. So ICARP stands for Integrated Climate Adaptation and Resiliency Program. So you go for more information on that, you can go to opr.ca.gov. That's opr.ca.gov. All right, let's get back into it. By February 1st, 2025, and then by February 1st each year thereafter until all the funds for the Extreme Heat and Community Resilience Program have been expended, the Office of Planning and Research shall submit an annual report to the fiscal committees of the legislature and the Legislative and Analyst Office summarizing outcomes from that program. Okay. Of the funding provided for the Extreme Heat and Community Resilience Program, the Office of Planning and Research shall use $1,500,000 to contract with independent external research entity to conduct an evaluation of which strategies are most effective in mitigating the public health impacts of the extreme heat. Okay, so that's 1 million right there. 500,000. With an independent and external research. Okay, so for those of you who are in this field, definitely check that out. And I guess reach out to the Office of Planning and Research. All right, let's continue here. Of the amount appropriated, highlight here, just so you know where we're at. The amount appropriated in Schedule 1, $25 million shall be available for the ICARP Regional Resilience Grant Program to support regional climate resilience planning and implementation to reduce the risk of climate change impacts such as wildlife, sea level rise, drought, flood, increasing temperatures, and extreme heat events. These funds shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2028, and liquidation through June 30th, 2030. All right, Section 8, Item 0650-496, Budget Act 2023 to read. Version, Office of Planning and Research. All right, General Fund, $8,800,000 appropriated for the California Volunteer Experience Corps. Let's see, number 2, $989,800,000 appropriated for the Regional Climate Collaboratives. All right, so it looks like California is investing in climate initiatives here. All right. Office of Emergency Services, also known as EOS, $154,800,000. Scheduled Emergency Management Services, $73,704,000. Special Programs and Grant Management, $81,960,000. All right. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 2, $27 million shall be used for grants related to services for victims of human trafficking. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 1, $25 million is available to support activities directly related to regional response and readiness. No later than February 1st of each year, the Office of Emergency Services shall report to the appropriate budget subcommittees of the legislature, the Assembly Committee on Governmental Organization, and the Legislative Analyst Office on the request approved for prepositioning resources made by local agencies in the previous fiscal year. All right, let's keep scrolling down here. Let's see if this is of interest here. If an emergency event happened, data describing the outcomes of the event. This could include, but is not limited to, the total number of acres affected, the number of structures affected, and the total number of deaths and injuries. All right. 5A, of the funds appropriated in Schedule 1, $25 million shall be used for the Listos California Grant Program. Alrighty. Let's keep going. Okay, so it mentions how funds were allocated. All right, let's see here. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 1, $23,704,000 will be available to support California's law enforcement mutual aid system. Notwithstanding any other law, the Office of Emergency Services may provide advance payment to local law enforcement agencies to cover costs when formally deployed through the law enforcement mutual aid system in support of a response to conditions that threaten public safety. Public safety, okay? For any activities that subsequent to receiving this funding become eligible for state or federal disaster funding, those payments will be remitted back to the general fund. All right. Let's see here. All right. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 2, $5 million shall be used to fund Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. No more than 5% of this amount may be used for administrative support costs. This amount is available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2026. The amount appropriated in Schedule 2, $10 million shall be available to provide grants to family justice centers throughout the state to support and provide legal services to victims of domestic violence, intimate partner violence, sexual assault, child abuse, elder abuse, transnational abandonment, and human trafficking. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 2, $2,300,000 shall be available to provide grants for sexual and domestic violence prevention. No more than 5% of this amount may be used for administrative support costs. All right. Reversion, Office of Emergency Services. The balances specified below of the appropriations provided in the following citations shall revert to the balances in the funds from which the appropriations were made. General Fund, item ending in -001, Budget Act of 2021, $45 million of the amount specified in Provision 1 for community hardening to build disaster-resistant communities. Section 11, Budget Act of 2023 is amended to read, for transfer of the controller to ammunition safety and enforcement special fund, $4,300,000. The amount in this item shall be transferred to the ammunition safety and enforcement special fund as a general fund loan to support operating costs for the ammunition authorization program. For support of the controller payable from the Senior Citizens and Disabled Citizens Property Tax Postponement Fund, $3 million and $3,227,000. All right. Let's keep going here. Section 13. For capital outlay, Department of the California Highway Patrol, $500,000. Planning and site identification, $500,000. Study, $350,000. And acquisition, $150,000. The Department of Finance may augment the funds in Schedule 1 by up to $2 million for the purpose of securing option agreements to purchase critical parcels of real property. Section 14, Budget Act of 2023 is repealed. Budget Act of Section 15, Budget Act of 2023 is amended to read. All right, let's see some numbers here. General Fund, Delano Field Office Replacement, construction. Inglewood, Field Office Replacement, construction. Oxnard, field office reconfiguration and construction. Budget Act of 2023 is amended to read. All right. Reversion State Energy Resources Conservation and Development Commission. All right. Notwithstanding any other law as of June 30th, 2023, the balance is specified below of the appropriations provided in the following citations shall revert to the balances in the funds from which appropriations were made. All right, here we go. 11 million of the amount appropriated for the Equitable Building Decarbonization Program. All right. 99 million of the amount appropriated for the Equitable Building Decarbonization Program. 8 million of the amount appropriated for the Climate Innovation Program. 90 million of the amount appropriated for the Climate Innovation Program. 10 million of the amount appropriated for the Industrial Decarbonization Program. 90 million of the amount appropriated for the Industrial Grid Support and Decarbonization Program. 5 million of the amount appropriated for distributed electricity backup assets and utility scale assets. 940,000 of the amount appropriated in sub-provision for the Food Production Investment Program. 17,860,000 of the amount appropriated in sub-provision, provision 1 of item 3360-102-0001 of the Food Production Investment Program. 3,500,000 of the amount appropriated for the Hydrogen Program. 31,500,000 of the amount appropriated to provide incentives for the Hydrogen Program in sub-provision. 50 million of the amount appropriated to support distributed electricity backup assets and utility scale assets. 6,375,000 of the amount to provide administrative support and assistance to implement statewide market rate incentives through the Building Initiative for Low Emissions Development Program. 9,300,000 of the amount appropriated to support charging and hydrogen refueling infrastructure for the deployment of the drayage truck pilot project in sub-provisions. All right. 7 million. This is looks like number 15. 7,250,000 of the amount appropriated to support in-state manufacturing of zero-emission vehicles. Okay. Actually, let me read this full thing here. All right, so 7,250,000 of the amount appropriated to support in-state manufacturing of zero-emission vehicles, zero-emission vehicle components, and zero-emission vehicle charging or refueling equipment in sub-provision F of provision 4 of the item -001, etc. 365,000 of the amount appropriated for the administration costs for emerging opportunities. All right. Technical item, transportation, technology, and fuels. Okay. 17, 6,935,000 of the amount appropriated for the emerging opportunities. All right, within zero-emission vehicles, etc. Section 17, Budget Act of 2023 is amended to read. Reversion Department of Conservation. The balances specified below of the appropriations provided in the following citations shall revert to the balances in the funds from which the appropriations were made. General Fund, 25 million. 40 million in -001 Budget Act 2022 and 45,500,000 of the amount appropriated for a biomass to hydrogen / biofuels pilot project. Section 18, which is Section 2 of the Budget Act of 2023, is amended to read: for support of Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, $2,183,363,000. Once again, that's $2,183,363,000. All right, I thought I said 183,000. So to clarify, that's 183 million. So that's 2,183,363,000. Office of the State Fire Marshal, 39,273,000. Fire Protection, 2,830,960. 2,830,963,000. Resource Management, 50,325,000. Board of Forestry and Fire Protection, 366,366,000. Department of Justice Legal Services, 6,828,000. Administration, 197,734,000. Administrative, let's see here. Okay, administration, 197,734,000. Administration distributed, -197 million. Reimbursements of Office of the State of Fire Marshal, -27,264,000. Reimbursements to Fire Protection, all right. Reimbursements to the Fire Protection, -716,557. 706. Man, these numbers. Okay, we're gonna get it. 716,557,000. -26,264,000 for the Office of the State Fire Marshal. Reimbursements to Resource Management, -1,571,000. Reimbursements to Administration, 347,000. That's a -347,000. Yeah, so let's see. Now, we'll be talking about the topic for the finance. Just kind of going through some of these numbers real quick. All right, notwithstanding any other law or administrative procedure, the Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. Okay. Some more force. Okay, here's some numbers here. The Department of Forestry and Fire Protection is exempted from any applicable law requiring competitive bidding or the supervision or approval of another department or agency of state government for the procurement of or contracting with vendors for exclusive use aviation aircraft up to an aggregate annual contractual amount of $45 million. Notwithstanding the foregoing, within 10 days after entering into each contract pursuant to this provision, the department shall notify the Joint Legislative Budget Committee of the contract amount, the duration of the agreement, and the type of aviation asset contracted for. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 2, 20 million shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2028. Not more than 5% of the amount specified in this provision shall be used for administrative costs. All right. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 3, 29,400,000 shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2028. For support or local assistance for forest legacy, the nursery, land use planning, and public education, demonstration, state forest, and monitoring. All right, let's see here. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 2, 26 million shall be exempt from any applicable provision of law requiring competitive bidding or the supervision or approval of another department or agency of state government for the procurement of or contracting with vendors for logistical support, including but not limited to feeding, lodging, training, and the purchase of personal protective equipment for Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, crews and additional fire suppression staff related to increased fire activity during the period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. All right, Section 19 looks like some more Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. 2,938,000 appropriated for an interagency forest data hub. Section 20 to read. For support of Department of Fish and Wildlife, 221,755,000. Biodiversity Conservation Program, 142,051,051,000. Hunting, Fishing, and Public Use Program, 13,465,000. All right, I'm going to be running through these pretty quick, so I'm not going to give exact numbers, so I'm just going to be giving estimates here. Management of Department Lands and Facilities, 17 million. Enforcement, 47 million. Communications, Education, and Outreach, 387,000. Spill Prevention and Response, 369,000. Fish and Game Commission, 905,000. Of the amount provided in Schedule 1, 1,090,000 is available to negotiate, compete, and implement voluntary agreements in tributaries to the Sacramento River, the San Joaquin River, and the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta. These funds shall be used exclusively to directly enhance or improve public benefits and public trust resources. All right, so it talks about some schedules. All right. Of the amount provided in Schedule 1, 20 million shall be available for the completion of fine-scale vegetation mapping for California. All right. Of the amount provided in Schedule 1, 15,000 shall be distributed through contracts with non-governmental organizations, local agencies, and tribes to conduct activities to monitor anadromous salmonid population using methods consistent with California Department of Fish and Wildlife's Fish Bulletins 180 and 182. All right. What does anadromous mean? Anadromous is migrating up rivers from the sea to spawn. All right. Anadromous fish means a fish or fish species that spends portions of its life cycle in both fresh and salt waters, entering fresh water from the sea to spawn. Alrighty. There you go. 6. Of the amount provided in Schedule 3, 13,100,000 shall be available for storm drainage repair at the Mendota Wildlife Area. All right. Section 21. For Local Assistance Wildlife Conservation Board, 170 million. All right, some estimates here. All right, 170,800,000. All right, the funds appropriated in this item shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2026. All right. The funds appropriated in this item shall be available as follows: 95 million for the Wildlife Conservation Board's Nature-Based Solutions Grants Program. All right. The board shall, to the extent possible, strive to award at least 40% of these funds to projects and programs for biodiversity conservation actions adjacent to or directly benefiting climate vulnerable communities, disadvantaged communities, or California Native American tribes. All right, so if anybody's into wildlife conservation, you can check that out. 12,520,000 for competitive grants through the Cascades and High Sierra Upper Watersheds program to improve watershed protection and climate resiliency. Okay. 280,000 for competitive grants through the Land Acquisition and Habitat Enhancement Program to improve watershed protection and climate resiliency in Southern California. All right, the funds appropriated in this item shall be available as follows: 95 million for the Wildlife Conservation Boards. Yeah, I think I already read that. Let's continue. Yeah, 12 million. I think I read that. 280,000. Read that. Okay. Let's see some more money here. Money. Reversion. Wildlife Conservation Board. The balance specified below of the appropriation provided in the following citation shall revert to the balances in the funds from which appropriations were made. All right, up to 2 million appropriated in program 271-0 Wildlife Conservation Board. So paragraphs as allocated to item 3640, up to 22 million appropriated in program 2710 for Wildlife Conservation Board for Cascades and High Sierra Upper Watersheds program, and up to 22 million appropriated in program 2710 to Wildlife Conservation Board for Land Acquisition and Habitat Enhancement Program. Alrighty, up to 7,200,000 appropriated in program 2710, section 35 of AB 211. All right. Version Department of Parks and Recreation. The unencumbered balances of the appropriation provided in the following citation shall revert to the fund balances of the funds from which appropriations were made. General Fund, 75 million of the amount appropriated for statewide park programs in subparagraph. Okay. Section 24. Reappropriation, San Gabriel and Lower Los Angeles Rivers and Mountains Conservancy. All right, general fund. All right, section 25 is a minute to read. For support of Department of Water Resources, $351,178,000. All right, let's go through some of these schedules here. All right, I'm gonna be going through these with estimates. So here we go. Continuing formulation of the California Water Plan, $192,000. Implementation of the State Water Resources Development System, $67 million. Public safety and prevention of damage, $139 million. Central Valley Flood Protection Board, $23 million. Services, $7 million. Administrative, $110 million. Administrative distributed, negative $110 million. Continuing formulation of the California Water Plan, negative $51 million. Reimbursements, implementation of State Water Resources Development System, negative $386,000. Reimbursements to public safety and prevention of damage, negative $10 million. Reimbursement, Central Valley Flood Protection Board, negative $9 million. Reimbursements to 3255 services, negative $7 million. All right. The amounts provided in this item may be transferred to the Water Resources Revolving Fund for direct expenditure in such amounts as needed to meet operational needs. Of the amount appropriated in this item, $20 million shall be for strategic energy reliability. All right. Let's keep going here. Okay. Contracts, general services, engage, hire personnel necessary, engage activities, contract services. Okay. It's another line item. $10 million shall be used for support costs associated with flood risk reduction projects and shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2028. Of the funds in this item, $32 million shall be used to support a central procurement function for diverse clean energy resources. All right. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 1, $18,356,000 shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2025. Of the amount provided in Schedule 1, $13,522,000 shall be available to address statewide facility repairs on state-owned Delta lands associated with the 2023 winter storms levee repair. All right. 7 of the amount provided in Schedule 3, $3 million shall be available to address statewide facility repairs at state plan of flood control facilities associated with the 2023 winter storms levee repair and shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure till June 30th, 2026. For local assistance, Department of Water Resources, $226 million. Continuing formulation of the California Water Plan, $77 million. Implementation of State Water Resources Development System, $10 million. Public safety and prevention of damage, $175 million. All right, so it talks about some of the funds appropriated. All right, some timelines for encumbrance or expenditure. All right, so it looks like Department of Water Resources shall provide to the Joint Legislative Budget Committee An estimate of the net revenue generated from the Oroville Pump Storage Project. All right, of the amount appropriated in Schedule 1, $75 million shall be available for habitat restoration projects and be available for state operations, local assistance, or capital outlay. All right, Section 27, Reappropriation State Air Resources Board. All right, Greenhouse Reduction Fund. All right, what else is here? Trade Corridor Enhancement Account, State Transportation Fund. Alrighty. Section 28, Reappropriation State Air Resources Board. Motor Vehicle Account, State Transportation Fund, up to $550,000. Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, $27 million. All right, a provision 1.5 item ending in -3228. Section 29, Budget Act of 2023 is amended to read. All right, State Air Resources Board. Okay, some more State Air Resources Board here. All right, let's continue. Pesticide, here we go. Department of Pesticide Regulation, up to $2,650,000. Okay. Looks like that's from the general fund. Alrighty. The Budget Act of 23 is meant to read for support of Department of Toxic Substances Control. $16,660,000. All right, string fellow removal remedial action, $4,803,000. Other site mitigation activities, $11,857,000. Alrighty. Let's see. Just going through some of these numbers here. Section 33, Budget Act 2023 to read for transfer by the controller from the Toxic Substances Control account to the site remediation account, $13,710,000. All right, Section 34 for support of Department of Resources Recycling and Recovery, $7 million. Of that, waste reduction and management is $7 million. Okay. The amount appropriated in this item, $200,000, shall be for the purposes of cleanup and debris removal activities for the McKinney wildfire in Siskiyou County. All right, Section 35 to read for support of Department of Resources Recycling and Recovery payable from the Federal Trust Fund, $1,000. Waste reduction and management. All right. Reversion Department of Resources Recycling and Recovery. As of June 30th, 2023, the balances specified below of the appropriations provided in the following citations shall revert to the balances in the funds from which appropriations were made. General Fund, $4,750,000. $2 million. Let me go back. $4,750,000 appropriated for the Compositing Opportunities Program. $2 million appropriated for the Recycling Feasibility Grants Program. All right. $13 million appropriated for Recycling Feasibility Grants Program again. And $4,500,000 appropriated for Recycling Market Development Zone Loan Program. All right, what is that? I'm just curious to see what the loan program is about, because I know that there are people who are involved in recycling. So let's see what this is. All right. So for those that are interested, it says available funds fiscal year 2023-24 June is at 12,125,000 estimated. All right. Eligible applicants, private for nonprofit entities, nonprofit organizations, local government entities. Okay. Eligibility criteria. So if anybody's involved in recycling, and I guess if you want to apply, this does look like a loan. I think. Yep, loan awarded and for loans. Yeah, so obviously do your due diligence, but if you have want more information, go to calrecycle.ca.gov. That's calrecycle.ca.gov for more information on that. Alrighty. California Beverage Container Recycling Fund, $10 million. Appropriated for PET or PET thermoform containers. What is that? PET thermoform containers. Plastic thermoformed trays. All right, what is it? What is a PET thermoform? Thermoforming is a molding technique that results in a variety of highly usable plastic products. While thermoforming can apply to a variety of different plastics, we most often come across it in the form of polyethylene terephthalate, PET, which is labeled as number 1 plastic. All right. $40 million in item appropriated for the Quality Incentive Payment Program pursuant to Section 14549.1. Alrighty. Department of Resources, Recycling, Recovery again, Section 37. General Fund, $6,700,000 appropriated for the Compost Permitting Pilot Program. Just curious about this. What is this about? Compost Permitting Pilot Program. For those who are interested in compost, all right, permitting compost materials handle facilities in operation. All right. What is a compositable material handling facility or operation? All right, so here's some definitions of compost. Compost means the production resulting from the controlled biological decomposition of organic wastes that are sourced separated from the municipal solid waste stream, or which are separated at a centralized facility. Compost includes vegetable, yard, and wood waste, which are not hazardous waste. All right, what is the regulatory tier placement for compositable material handling facilities or operations? All right, so if you want more information on this, there's some standards, definitions, new regulations. Go to calrecycle.ca.gov. That's calrecycle.ca.gov for more information on that regarding compost. So, hey, I mean, I don't know how to get into that industry, but who knows? I mean, I personally like to, compost myself, but, I don't know. That's just my personal thing that I like to do, not as a business. But if anybody is interested in it, do your due diligence to move forward as is. All right, Section 38. Let's see. California Department of Aging. All right, let's see what this is about. For local assistance, Section 39. For local assistance, State Department of Healthcare Services. All right, payable from the Managed Care Enrollment Fund, $7,873,000. Benefits, Medi-Cal care and services, $7,870,000. Oh, I said 7 million. That's 7 billion with a B. $7,873,000,000. Alrighty. Okay, let's keep going down. For local assistance, State Department of Healthcare Services payable from the Medi-Cal Provider Payment Reserve. Okay, got the reserve fund here at 396 million. Okay, for reserves. All right, some more information. Let's see here. And we're going to wrap it up pretty soon. Section 41. Medi-Cal Reserve, 396 million once again. Alrighty. Section 42. For support of State Department of Public Health, 589,113,000. All right, let's break down some of these schedules here. Public health emergency preparedness, 69 million. These are estimates. So I'm just going to go through the estimates and saying, instead of saying the full number. Public and environmental health, 773 million. Licensing and certification, 32 million. Administration, 105,000. Administration distributed, 105,000. Public environmental health, or negative, 105 million. Public and environmental health, negative 271 million. And reimbursements for licensing and certification, negative 14 million. All right, so let's see, withstanding, Department of Health, federal emergencies. All right, the amount appropriated in Schedule 2, 18,146,000 shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th for the Information Technology, Data Science, and Informatics Framework for a 21st Century Public Health System. This amount may be augmented by up to 15,882,000 for planning activities. Alrighty. 6A, of the funds appropriated in Schedule 2, 1 million shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2028. Of the funds, 7A, of the funds appropriated in Schedule 2, 300,000 shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th for the State Department of Public Health to establish demonstration projects to allow for innovative, evidence-informed approaches to improve the health and well-being of the most vulnerable and underserved Californians living with or at risk for hepatitis B virus HBV infection. All right, some more HBV information. The funds appropriated in Schedule 2, 20 million is available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2026 to support the Youth Suicide Reporting and Crisis Response Pilot Program. Contracts entered into or amended pursuant to this provision shall be exempt from Chapter 6, commencing with Section 14825. All right, of the amount appropriated in Schedule 1, 51,300,000 shall be available for purposes related to COVID-19 response. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 2, 3,200,000 shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2026 to support a public health workforce development and engagement program aimed at supporting worker upskilling to improve retention of the public health workforce and help incumbent workers develop their skills to meet future public health demands. The State Department of Public Health may use up to $160,000 of the funding in this provision to administer the program. All right, some eligibility employee information here. Department of Health, okay. Stipends shall be providing stipends to eligible employees. Stipends shall be up to $600 per week per eligible employee. Alrighty. All right, I'm just trying to get through this health information. The amount appropriated in Schedule 2, $8 million shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 20th to support public health pathways. State Department of Public Health may use up to $400,000 of the funding in this provision to administer the program. All right. Okay. 12A of the amount appropriated in Schedule 2, $2,794,000 shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2026. Alrighty. Increase the number of public health microbiologist trainees in California. The State Department of Public Health may use up to $160,000 of the funding. All right. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 2, $2,678,000 shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2026 to support increased funding for the Lab Aspire program. State Department of Public Health may use up to $160,000 of the funding in this provision to administer the program. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 2, $3,200,000 shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2026 to increase the number of fellows in the California Epidemiologic Investigation Service Training Program. All right, so those who are interested in epidemiology, how do I pronounce this? Epidemiology, then go ahead, you can check into that. Let's see, and that's with the California Epidemiologic Investigation Services Training Program. All right, you know what? Let's look this up. Let's see what this is about real quick. Okay, so it looks like there is some fellowship information here. I think. All right, so if you go to cdph.ca.gov and look up the California Epidemiologic, Epidemiologic Investigation Service Fellowship Program, you could take a look at it for more information. Application procedures, application requirements, etc., etc. So you can go check that out there. Alrighty. And okay, the State Department of Public Health may use up to $160,000 of the funding. Okay. Of the funds appropriated in Schedule 2, $182,000 shall be available to support a retrospective analysis of the intersection of the COVID-19 pandemic. All right. Of the amount appropriated in Schedule 2, $1 million shall be available for encumbrance or expenditure until June 30th, 2022 to support administrative of investments to end the epidemic of hepatitis C virus. All right. The amount appropriated in Schedule 2 may be augmented to support the Office of Oral Health. Funding provide total funding from all fund sources, $30 million for this program, notwithstanding the reduction in Proposition 56 funds required by subdivision. All right. The revenue and tax code. All right, let's see here. All right, so it looks like some more public health stuff. All right, so yeah, it looks like one section here, section 3043, and then it goes to social services. So let's finish this one up. Virgin State Department of Public Health, as of June 30th, 2023, general fund, $1,250,000, $23,750,000, and $9,700,000. All right, and that's section 43. All right. So it says here, let me just quickly read this. As of June 30th, 2023, the balances as specified below of the appropriations provided in the following citations shall revert to the fund balances of the funds from which the appropriations were made. All right. Okay, so go ahead and we will continue next time. I believe that number 6 is coming up. I think number 6. All right, so we will continue with section 4, which is page 62, and it looks like we're going to be talking or going into social services. Is that right? I thought I saw social services somewhere. Where was it? Or maybe I'm tripping here. General funds, finance. $43. Yep, here we go. Department of Social Services. Okay, yeah, that was on section 44. So that's at the bottom. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening regarding this information. If you know anybody within these industries, as mentioned today in the public health, and I believe we also talked about wildlife and some other industries, please share this information with them. Or if you want to get involved in anything in this, I highly recommend you reaching out to some of these entities yourself. All right. And also, if and when you do go shop at Amazon, hit that affiliate link to support this platform and what we're doing, and go to the ETN Media Group store.com. That's ETN Media Group store.com. And as always, don't forget to watch reparationsnowdoc.com, especially since Juneteenth is coming up. And Sundays, right here on the Mass Media Group. I don't know if we're going to have one this Sunday because it is both Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And Juneteenth. I know there's going to be a lot of Juneteenth festivals and events that are going to be happening throughout the country. So may not have one this week, but it's been actually a very busy week in the reparations, in particular here in California, with SB 1331, SB 1403, and SB 1050. If you have yet to see the Judiciary Committee Assembly hearing All three bills did pass through the committee assembly, and I believe it's moving to the Appropriations Committee next. So definitely stay in tune, stay informed right here on Amen Mass Media Group. Once again, take care of yourself, you and your family. And on that note, peace and reparations.